It's officially summer season, which means my white vampiric self is going to slink further into the shadows so that I don't die by the burning sun. It also means that we're halfway through the year, which means it's time for another board game update. My business glasses are already on, so let's dive right in. So, since my last update, it always comes with as long as I think, if I had remembered to write everything down and recorded accurately, I have played 18 new board game titles, which means now I have played a total of 48 board game titles, and 34 more rounds of gameplay, which now is a grand total of 83 gameplays so far this year. I'll give you guys an update of what games we have replayed from my last list at the end, but I thought I would go through the new game titles that we've played thus far, and then go over the repeats. Basically, since the last time I updated with you guys, we traveled a ton, and basically got our vacations out of the way for the rest of the year. That's why I only have about a little over half of what we played at the beginning of this year. As you know, life goes on, and craziness happens. But even in the midst of that, we tried to play some board games. So anyway, the first new board game title that we played was Azul. It's a classic one for me. Just One, which I talked about in my top games of last year. It's a very fun party game where everyone is trying to give the guesser a one-word hint, and you're trying not to use the same words as someone else, because if you do, then both of your hints are canceled out, and then that person has less of a chance to be able to guess the word through the cards. It's a very fun, simple party game. Basically, that's the gist of it. The next two games I have played were actually the digital versions of them, which we got to play during our very long road trip out west, and I thought it was just such a nice experience. So the two digital versions of the games that I played were Wingspan and Cascadia. I knew already that Wingspan had a digital version, and that not all, but a lot of board games are getting like app versions so that you can take your favorite board games on the go, which I really liked. I loved Wingspan's app. I had actually accidentally listened to their soundtrack on Spotify because they have like a playlist on there from their app, which is really fun, and the music is very beautiful and soothing, so that's just really nice. And then the game, everything is basically the same, like the gameplay. I think it's a good conversion of like an actual board game to a digital version. So I would love to know what you guys think. Do you guys have different board game apps on your phone or your tablets? I would love to know which ones you have, and do you like them? It was definitely really nice. Again, a nice thing to pass the time during a very long road trip. And again, I think the execution and the gameplay to the digital version was really good. And even making the birds move, little graphics and things like that. It's just very nice touches. And then Cascadia was really cool too. It was very similar, where they have like moving parts or moving animals, and both were mainly intuitive. My brother-in-law, he was the one who had the apps. He was able to like show me pretty quickly, like, okay, this is what you do. These are the buttons you press. But yeah, overall, I just really enjoyed the digital versions. And again, it was a really nice way to pass the time. It definitely made me think about wanting to get some digital versions for further road trips or long plane trips, things like that. So, of course, let me know what you guys think down below. The next board game that we played was Harmonies, which again, I think I talked about in my favorite games of last year. It's a very pretty, aesthetically pleasing game and very simple. So really enjoyed that one. And then Boomerang USA, which is a roll and write. And then the next game was really fun, and we played this during our vacation, was the Worst Case Scenario card game. And that one was really fun for all of us siblings and siblings-in-laws to like sit around and get to know each other. And how you play the game is you draw out 5 different scenarios, and it's a huge deck of different terrible scenarios. And then each person will have a turn to be the judge. And you have tokens, numbers 1 through 5, to say, okay, 1 is like, it's not great, but I can deal with it, all the way to 5, which is like, this is the worst thing ever possible. I don't want to experience it. And so you look at the 5 cards, you secretly judge and place your tokens face down, rating 1 through 5, which is like the worst scenario for you versus the least worst. And then everyone else has tokens as well, and they decide and guess based on you what they think you would think the worst scenario would be versus like the least worst scenario. And there were some there were some scenarios on there which I was just like, no, like it made me like cringe, you know, it just when you have that visceral reaction. And then there were definitely some where I was like, it would be okay. So it's a very fun game in that way to kind of learn about each other and be like, okay, what does this person really hate and detest? After the worst case scenario card game was another game called Come Sail Away. Come Sail Away is this really cute, I believe my brother-in-law said it was like from Japan, and it's a very cute worker placement organization kind of game. I believe that's like the best way to describe it. So basically you have 10 different tiles in your cruise ship, and they are different. It's pattern matching and worker placement. And you have the 8 or 10 different tiles, and you're going around, and each room has like requirements for how your different colored meeples, which are your different colored guests, can sit and be placed in each room. So there are specific guest rooms for those specific colors. You want to match those up, which will give you suitcases, which are your bonuses to get like more perks as you go down the line. And then there are different types of rooms. So there's like the library, the bar, the pool, and each one of those has different patterns, and that symbolizes like, hey, you have to have 4 of a different color on this tile, or 2 of the same matching colors. 2 pairs of matching colors, so like 2 reds and 2 blues, things like that. So it's a very fun, quick, simple game. You get 12 rounds, and you'll pull random cards of colored meeples that you have to place in your cruise ship, and you're working to be the most efficient as possible. It's a little bit like Mancala 2, where you just go down the line of the rooms. You can't just like, randomly place it. It's whatever room you start with, you gotta orthogonally connect to the next one, if that makes sense. Editing me here. Not only are you placing your meeples in orthogonal order around your cruise ship, but you also have to place your meeples in the order that's on the card, either from left to right or right to left. So if you have a card that's green, yellow, blue, you have to go with your green meeple first, then your yellow, then your blue, or from your blue to your yellow to your green, if that makes sense. So this one was a really fun game. We played this one, I believe, about like 3 times in this past quarter. The next game was Sushi Roll. And then the game after that was Nova Era. So Nova Era might be the most frustrating game I have ever played. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad game by any means. And I believe it's a 2025 release. I could be wrong. I'll put up the correct release date up on the screen. But with Nova Era, basically the frustrating thing is that nothing is precious. It's a engine building game. Maybe not engine building, but like a deck building game where you're trying to get cards of similar colors to upgrade them into the next era. There are 3 eras you're playing, but in Era 2 and Era 3, you'll get cards that are going to negate and make other cards irrelevant. Because the whole premise of the game is that your civilizations are advancing. So you start with the stone wheel, and then you get to cars and things like that. And so each time you go into a new era, your technologies advance. And it doesn't matter if you draw the card that makes something irrelevant. Other players can draw cards, and you'll have an indicator that says, hey, these cards are now irrelevant, so you remove them from your board and they are now put into the past. And that affects your end round scoring. And there are, I think, 12 end rounds. So there was just a lot of ups and downs with this game for me. And we played it several times to 1, get good at it, and then 2, just to like see how we can kind of fight the game and be able to have cards that will stick around, or if they do become irrelevant, you'll still have good scoring at the end. So in that kind of case, I think it's a very good game in the sense of it is competitive, and there are ways to mess up other players. So if you enjoy those types of games, I would recommend playing it. But I am someone, I think, so used to deck building and engine building where you can hold on to your cards, and you're more on the opposite spectrum of, oh, I have too many cards, my engine building's too blocky and clunky, where my cards are being taken away from me, and therefore all of my plans get ruined, is very frustrating. So I would love to know anyone else's thoughts who have played Nova Era so far. I love the artwork. Again, all of the mechanics are really cool. The other mechanic that we haven't even touched on is there are 5 different catastrophes. I think it's called catastrophes. And everyone gets punished because of those catastrophes, because there's riots, there's like stock decline, and then of course Dark Age, which Dark Ages are the worst. If you can avoid the Dark Age, you'll do better than the other types of catastrophes. So yeah, it's a very competitive, you're kind of fighting the game, but then you're also messing with other people. So I'm still debating whether or not it's like the game for me. And I've never really had a game. I've had very few instances where I just don't jive with a game. So I'd love to know what you guys think of this game. Have you played it? Have you heard good things, bad things? What type of gameplay do you guys enjoy? After Nova Era, we played the game Parks, Fantasy Realms, Sagrada, Carcassonne, Cartographers, and then a new game, Unconscious Mind. Unconscious Mind is it was a new game for us. I had seen it a couple of times at the board game store, and then my brother-in-law got it, and I was like, yes! So we were able to play it. It's got Vincent Dutray art, and then I feel bad because I cannot remember the other artist who did a lot of the other elements, but they both contributed, and the game overall is beautiful, of course, because of the beautiful art that they do. Unconscious Mind is a meaty game, as I call it on this channel. As I call harder, thicker games on this channel, they're meaty, and I'll link that video up above. It's very fun. Everyone is a different therapist, psychologist. You're interpreting people's dreams, their latent dreams and their manifest dreams, and you are finding matching icons depending on the tier of the different dial that you're working on. I think there's passion and 2 other different attributes that you are working to, again, collect so that you are interpreting the different dreams for your clients. It's all with like Sigmund Freud and dreams. I might read the blurb just because it's like a better explanation than I can do.
In the early 1900s, the Austrian neurologist Sigmund Freud established a revolutionary theory called psychoanalysis, related to the study of the unconscious mind. As his work took hold, supporters met at Freud's apartment every Wednesday to discuss psychology and dream symbolism. This group, the Wednesday Psychological Society, marked the beginning of the worldwide psychoanalytic movement. As a member of this society, you aim to formulate new therapeutic techniques, establish a practice, grow your clientele, and become Freud's most distinguished contemporary. To best accomplish this, you'll need to share insights, discuss ideas with peers, and publish theories. And to stay invigorated, you'll likely need some coffee. Lots of coffee.
But there are so many different elements. There are worker placements. You are moving around Vienna to also collect different icons. There's icon matching. There's a lot of like Great Western Trail aspects in the sense of like you have your own personal player board and you're filling them up with different tiles so that you can build upon your engine so that you can do more activities per turn, as well as like treating your clients. There are different, again, with worker placement, like different ways that actions that you can do and stack on top of each other, and resources to collect. Again, it's a really big meaty game, so there's like 2 or 3 different paper pamphlets just to show you the different icons. But overall, it's a really cool concept, and I love, again, the art because there's different cards to show both the latent dreams and the manifest dreams, and it's beautiful, and like some of them are really spooky also, but it was a really neat game. It took a very long time, our first playthrough, but it was very good. Very neat, lots of ways to collect your points and build upon your engine. Really liked the concept. I thought it worked well for the concept of the dreams. The last 2 games that we played were Raw and Tapestry. And then here are the games that we replayed from last quarter's games and this quarter's. So we replayed River of Gold, Arc Nova, Rebirth, Critter Kitchen, played 2 more rounds of That's Pretty Clever. We played Earth again. We played 2 rounds of Azul, 2 rounds of Just One, 3 games of Wingspan, 3 games of Come Sail Away, 3 games of Nova Era, and 2 games of Fantasy Realms. So again, 83 total gameplay so far this year, and 43 unique game titles altogether. Well, that is my board game update for this summer. Of course, I'm going to be staying inside and out of the sun, playing even more board games and some video games. Very excited for Tales of the Shire. I've also been watching Kaiju number 8, which was excellent, and like other shows. But anyway, staying inside is the main thing. Again, I'd love to know what board games you guys have played. Again, let me know what you think about Nova Era, as well as any other games that resonated with you or sounded good, or that you have played or own in your collection. I would love to know all of that down below. And again, art videos are coming soon. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I just need to show you. Look at this. This is tan. This is just so white. Hello, blah, 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 board games, blah, blah, blah. It's officially the summer season, which means it's officially summer season. My white vampiric self is going to further... What was I gonna say? It also means we're about halfway through the year, which means another quarter of the year has ended. My business glasses are already on.